Hello, everyone. This is Tom Painter. Thank you so much for joining with us, and thanks for being part of our world and making such a huge difference in so many people's lives. I want to talk to you a little bit about how to improve whole generations of lives, including your own. How to improve whole generations of lives, including your own, because really, that's why you've been put on this earth. That's why you're here. Your job is to improve people's lives. Bob Allen has a quote. He says, good parents give their kids good memories. Bad parents give their children bad memories. If you look at your life and you say, where did I pick up some of these traits? Well, you look at your parents, you look at your grandparents, you look at people in the neighborhood, uncles, aunts, friends. There's a saying that says that your net worth is the average of the 10 people that you hang out with, that you network with. So if your net worth isn't where you want it, you need to change and hang out with different people. That's the key. So it's a big question. How do you improve a whole generation of lives? How do you improve a whole generation of lives, including your own? Well, if you think about that, what are the key elements that you need? Well, number one is you need the right strategies, the right secrets. You need to know how they do it. Magicians do all these wonderful tricks, but when you understand how they do it, there's no magic to it. It's just a trick. It's a strategy. It's a secret that they have. And once you understand it, you can do that trick too. Your mother, your grandmother makes an incredible cake. They have a recipe. They have a system that they do. And they do this ingredient, then this ingredient, and then this ingredient in that order. And if you copy that, you can do the same. So at the foundation, the big overriding question that I ask myself every week is how do we improve a whole generation of lives? How do we do that? Because many of you, many people around the world, I've been all over the world. I've been to 50 countries. I've seen a lot of things. The one thing I know is that parents love their children and that parents want their children to have a better life than they have. Here, my parents wanted a better life for us kids. My grandfather wanted a better life for my parents. It's true. We want a better life for those that we love. So how do you do that? Well, one of the problems is that as parents and as children, we don't really want to listen to our parents because we don't think they know what they're talking about. They need to hear it from another voice. Oh, my parents got really, really smart when I turned about 25 and got married and started having kids. Oh, you know what? My mom and dad really do know what they're talking about. The way you improve a whole generation of lives is you have to make a determination. What's more important? Money, knowledge, or a good experience with money? If you can only have one of those three things, money, knowledge, or good experience with money, what would you choose? Well, what do we usually do with our kids? We just give them the money. Give them a fish, you feed them for a day. If you teach them how to fish, you can feed them for a lifetime. But if you can teach them how to teach, you can change a whole generation of lives. Your family tree. So what's more important, money, knowledge, or a good experience with money, or even a bad experience with money if you learn from it? Well, giving your kids money is not the answer because you give them the Ferrari, they're going to wreck the Ferrari. I don't teach my kids. When I was teaching my kids how to drive, I sure didn't teach them in my Ferrari. And yes, I have a Ferrari. I have a handful of sports cars. I took them to the church parking lot in the family van. And we would go up and down the parking lot and learn how to park. And we did that. And then we would go out on a side street. And then we would progress and progress and progress. Did I give up on it? No. We spent hours and hours and hours. And many, many times teaching the kids how to drive because I want them to learn how to drive the right way and be successful. Now, once they know how to drive, their world opens up to them. They have so many more opportunities. So money's not the answer. Knowledge is very helpful, but the real key is to take them by the hand and show them how to do it and do it with them. Or give them the assignment to do it and let them figure it out on their own. And when they succeed or fail, there's nothing wrong with failure. If you're always succeeding, you're not pushing it hard enough. If I gave you a coin and told you that you needed to get me 10 heads, well, the likelihood is that you'd flip it 20 times. You'd be successful half the time. But we know that sometimes it works faster and sometimes it works slower, but you're going to fail half the time. You're going to fail half the time. Do we care? No, we don't care if you fail. All we care is that you flip the coin again. Now, if the coin's weighted and the odds that it goes to tails more than heads, you might have to flip it more times. You might just get unlucky. You might have to flip it 30 times, 40 times. We don't care how many times you flip the coin. All we care about is how do you get those 10 heads? Many people have been dealt with some terrible cards in the game of life. Some of some of our family members have been dealt some terrible cards. You've just got bad cards. But guess what? That's part of the game of life. I have 2 special needs children. My son is pretty severe. He was dealt some terrible cards. But as I look at other special needs kids, I'll take my son's special needs kids' problems over so many others that have worse cards. Now, some of you were born with really good parents in a really good area where you could thrive. But guess what? Your story's not nearly as interesting as people that have had some really terrible cards handed to them. Guess what? In the game of life, you get to change your cards. You can change your stars. How do you do that? How do you change the cards? How do you change the stars? You go work. You solve problems. You study successful people. And you do what they do. As you go out into the marketplace and you solve bigger problems and you add more value, guess what? You get to take some of the cards that you don't want. You can discard them. And you get new cards. You discard the old cards that you don't like and you get new cards. Now, many people got the cards and they think, well, this is my life. This is my lot. I can't do anything about it. Well, that's not true. You can change your stars. You can change where you're going. You just have to change your cards. Hand the old cards in, get some new cards. How do you get new cards? You solve problems. You go out in the marketplace. You study successful people. You add more value. Every time you do that, you can have somebody show you a new card and you can either say, yep, I want to trade my card or I want to keep my card that I've already got in my hand. Your job is to get a winning hand. Your job is to teach your kids how to get a winning hand. That's how you change a whole generation of lives, including your own. Our purpose in the foundation is very clear. Our purpose in the foundation is to help you and your family and friends have a better life. That is the purpose of the foundation. Now, like some charities, they just hand out money. And you know what? And we do an awful lot of charity work, but we don't just hand out money. We supply things like eyeglasses and meals and clean water, because that's something that we can do to change some of your cards so that you can go play the game and change your cards on your own. We don't hand out a lot of money. We hand out a lot of stock. Now, why do we hand out stock? Because the one measurement in the foundation is, did we help you get started the right way? The one thing that if you open up an investment account, you know what? I don't care if your investments go up or down. I really don't. I just care where they're going to be in 20 years from now. When you open up an investment account and you start investing, your world changes. You think differently. Now, instead of being a consumer, you are an entrepreneur. When you go to Disneyland, my kid loves the rides. I look at it and say, how did Walt and Roy do this? How did they pull this off? You go into McDonald's, look at those systems. How did they do it? And then you take the things you learned and put it into your world. You don't need to copy what they're doing, but you say, oh, that's an interesting way to deliver that. You study successful people, you study successful systems. Now, when you start getting invested, one of the big things that we have, the biggest question is, well, how do I do it? Well, there's only 4 ways to really invest in the stock market. Now, remember, step number 1 is to learn how to make more money. You do that by solving bigger problems, adding more value, and studying successful people. Step number 2, you need to separate your money. You need to separate your time. You need to separate your energy and effort. These 5 steps are the same for everything. Money's just an easy one to be able to show you. Number 3, you got to give some of it away. You got to give some of your money away, your time away, your energy away, your effort. You need to give some of it away. Why? Because it's a spiritual law, but more importantly, it is a business law. You want to go hang out with great people that are great investors? Hang out with people who are giving because they just think differently. Number 4, you've got to automatically invest in yourself. Now, from the money side, we talk about long-term investments, but for you, how are you investing in yourself? Warren Buffett is 93 years of age. He'll be 94 in August. My dad was 4 days older than Warren Buffett. He reads 4 to 5 hours a day. Why? Because he is gathering information. He's compounding his knowledge. He's learning. Elon Musk just read and read and read. He was a massive reader. The big readers, the big successful people spend time reading. They don't spend time watching stupid cats on social media or stupid videos. They study successful people. Warren Buffett still is studying successful people. They read autobiographies and biographies. They study successful people. They are investing in themselves. Automatically, they spend a half hour, 30 minutes, an hour a day, whatever it is. And these are busy people, but they are constantly learning. So you can invest in yourself. You can invest your money automatically. You can make it grow. Now, how do you automatically get this information in you? Well, you put on classes that we teach and put them in the background so you can listen to it. This morning, I got up and was exercising. I had Tony Robbins on one end in one speaker, and I had some motivational videos that I watched in the morning to get me up and going. Every day, I'm listening to somebody. Do I need to? No. But you know what? It's hard to stay motivated. It's hard when, life throws you some curves. My wife had a pretty big accident a week ago. And on Tuesday, we got her back in to do the surgery. They put a metal plate in her collarbone and 11 or 10 screws. She has been having some real issues. So we've had curveballs thrown at us, and it's kind of tough. But we've had wonderful neighbors reach out to us, and some of them have actually brought food over. They're giving. And sometimes the giver gets more than the person. The giver gets more than the recipient does. So automatically invest. Now, in the stock market, when you get started, there's 4 ways. 1, pick and choose. You can pick and choose the different stocks that you want to invest in. Number 2, you can hire somebody, a mutual fund. Number 3, you can just put it in the 500 biggest companies in America. And number 4 is Berkshire Hathaway stock and Warren Buffett. Now, if you pick and choose, you will lose unless you're really, really good at it. When you get started, I don't suggest that you pick and choose. Now, we just added some new classes on the Earn While You Learn because we do a lot of wonderful things with the Young Investor Society. They're worldwide. They have high schools, over 2,000 high schools that they work with, and James Fletcher is a good friend. and we're going to be doing some work together. You can pick and choose once you learn what to do, but just use a small amount of your assets to do that. And it's okay. Take 10%, 20% of the liquid assets that you have in your stock account and pick and choose if you'd like. But for most people, you need to spend your time. You need to spend your time and your energy in making more money. That's your job. Your job's probably your biggest source of wealth. Figure out how to make a lot more money in your job. How do you do that? You move up. You make more money. And if whoever you're working for isn't going to pay you the money, somebody else will. So that is the key to doing that. Number two, you got to have some side hustles, some small businesses. Now, sometimes you can make a lot more money in your job than you can a small business. You got to look at return on time and energy. Your real estate, y'all should be buying some real estate, long-term investments. As you can see, inflation is rampant all over the world. Why? Because the governments of the world can't balance their budgets. So what do? They just simply print more money. When they print more money, that makes everything worth less, meaning things cost more money. And inflation is rampant all over the world. You've got to own things that stay up and keep up with inflation. You need to buy things that appreciate in value, specifically things that pay you. Real estate, if you rent out some real estate, people pay you, and that pays the payment. And I've done millions and millions and millions and millions. In fact, that's one of the ways that we funded the foundation is we donated a bunch of real estate to the foundation, our Berkshire Hathaway stock and real estate. So you need to be doing some of that. You need to be learning about it. All of you should own at least your own home. But more importantly, you should learn how to flip some homes, flip some and buy them, fix them up, sell them. And you can do that with products. You can do that with services. You can do that with all kinds of things. But you need a side hustle, or you need to get really crazy in your job. And sometimes you got to be out of balance. They say you need to have balance in your life. Well, you know what? Sometimes to really get that plane off the runway, you got to work like a dog. We only work half days from 7 to 7, 12 hours a day. You got to get that plane off the runway. You got to get that rocket up into and out of the Earth's gravity. You've got to get it going. That's the key. So in the 4 ways, one, you can pick and choose. And if you want to spend time picking and choosing, that's okay. But don't spend much money in it until you're better than the 500 biggest companies in America, or even Warren Buffett and his whole team. For most people, if you're managing other people's money, then you can do that, and you can do very well. Number 2 is to hire a manager, a mutual fund. Number 3 is the 500 biggest companies in America, the S&P, Standard & Poor's. It was a publishing company that started tracking the 500 biggest companies decades and decades ago. That's why it's called Standard & Poor's, because that's the name of the publication. And then, of course, there's the Warren Buffett stock, and that's why we give you our stock. We've got a lot of stock. Our goal is to give that stock away to you. How I measure the success of the foundation is by how many people are getting their investment account open, funding it, putting money into it on a monthly basis. Because if you do that, all your habits are going to change and you're going to follow that. So when you get started, as we give you Berkshire Hathaway stock, just go buy Berkshire Hathaway stock. Now, I'm not telling you what to do with your money. I'm telling you what to do with my money. So I want you to do that with that stock. And you can do the S&P 500. Both of them are very good. But over a long period of time, Berkshire Hathaway's outperformed the S&P 500. Who's outperformed mutual funds? Who's outperformed picking and choosing? So just study the rates of return, and that's what you do. Number 5. Step number 5 is to save for a rainy day and spend. Your job is to figure out how to make more money and spend less money and get the difference into step 4. If you want to be successful, if you want to change your stars, if you want to change your children's stars, that's what you've got to do. And just like we're giving you money to open up your own investment accounts, if you need us, you don't need us. Your job is to do that with your children. Your job is to go plant money trees in their orchard. All my kids have investment accounts. All my grandkids have investment accounts. My 3-year-old grandson has an investment account. Why? Because I planted the money tree for him, just like my parents planted money trees for their 70 grand and great grandchildren. Somebody's got to plant the tree. You're sitting under a tree and enjoying the shade of a tree that someone else planted. So if you want to be successful, if you want to change your stars, if you want to change your generation, if you want to change yourself, the purpose of the foundation is to help you and your family and friends have a better life. So when you go to the website, we're encouraging you to do that. And we've added some more Earn While You Learn classes. And you can earn money, you can earn stock by simply watching the Share the Wealth and Win video. Number 2, you can earn stock by simply inviting other people to watch the Share the Wealth and Win video. Why the Share the Wealth and Win video? Because it's an overview of all the wonderful classes you have access to at the Success and Money Foundation. We are supported by best-selling authors, educators, and entrepreneurs. And you can earn stock just by sharing your link. Now, the key is to get them to watch the Share the Wealth and Win video. And when they do that, they're going to earn stock. And you earn stock. That's the key to getting that going. And then number 3, is to continue to go through those Earn While You Learn classes, the 5 steps. Go through the classes to help you start your small business. 25 ways to earn more money at your small business. And then we've added some new ones on there, which are a little bit more advanced business and stock classes. But your key is to learn how to be able to do all that. And you can make a chunk of money into your stock account. Because the way I measure our success is by how much money we get out into your investment account. That's the key. And then when you get that investment account, I want you to continue to make it grow. So that's how you do it. Now, how do you really change a generation of lives? How do you do it? Number 1, you be the example. For you to be the example, you need to watch other people and learn from them. There's a saying that says, what would Jesus do? Well, one of mine's, what would Warren Buffett do? What would Steve Jobs do? What would Elon Musk do? What would they do if they had this question? Your job is to go out into the marketplace, solve bigger problems, add more value, and change your cards. Get a winning hand. And the good thing about having a bad hand to start with is you have a better story. It's a funner story. Life's a journey. It's not a destination. You know, it really sucks when you get to your destination. That's why people say, well, let's go do another journey. Let's go do this again. You want to change your stars, you want to change a generation of lives, you have to do those 5 steps. And you need to share the wealth with others. This is not about you. This is not about you. This is about helping somebody else. You're not the message. You're the messenger. And you're hanging out best-selling authors, educators, and entrepreneurs that have done it. This is a legacy project. This is the legacy project of myself and many of my friends and people that I've worked with and known for decades. And we're getting older. And we've taken, you know, if you were to go through the classes that are now offered in the foundation, it costs you about $5,000. That's what it was sold for. But as entrepreneurs and educators, we've decided that we wanted to really give back. And so we've taken that and we've turned it into a foundation, a nonprofit charity, and it's a legacy program for us. This is how we make a difference. So how do you change a generation of lives? Well, number 1, you change your own life first. If you're in an airplane, they say put your oxygen mask on first and then your children. Why? Because if you can't operate, if you can't do it, then the kids can't do it either. You are the person they're going to copy and mimic. So as you're going to the bank, take the kids to the bank. When you're going studying putting money in the stock market, have your kids show you. Act kind of stupid and say, hey, can you help me figure out how to get this money moved from my savings account into the investment account? They're smarter than you, and that's what we want. We want them to learn how to drive. Get them to help you automatically. The more things that you can set up automatically, the better you are. That's the key. Do the 5 steps, share with others. And again, the most important thing is not the money, it's not the knowledge, it's the experience on how to do it. Your job is to change the world, to improve the world. Now, what's the world? It's your world, it's your own home. It's the people around you. That's your world. Not the whole world, it's your world. The people you meet, the people in your street, your kids, your nieces, nephews. Share the wealth. Teach them. Give them it away. My wife was in surgery the other day, on Tuesday, and as we were waiting for our car, I gave away a membership to the nurse because she was so good. She had an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, and she was fabulous. And so what did I do? How could I thank her? Well, I gave her a membership to the foundation. That can improve her life. Her and her husband are going to make millions and millions of dollars throughout their lifetime. Everybody has the same 3 things. They're all going to make money, they're going to manage money, and they're going to spend money. And the sad thing is that the vast majority of people will die broke and in debt because they didn't learn how to manage it. You've got to learn how to manage it. And I'm not saying just go put it under your mattress. I'm telling you, you need to make it work for you. Men at work and money at work. And if you'll do that, you can change their stars. You can change your stars. Your job is to help your children and grandchildren have a better life than you've had. And that's getting harder and harder to do because the governments of the world can't balance their budgets, so they just print more money. You've got to invest in things that go up in value. And you're gonna fail. And I don't care if you fail. What I care about is you learn from it and you learn how to continue to do it. Your job is to get 10 heads. So you might have to flip that coin 30 times, 40 times. I don't care. I just want you to get those 10 heads. And then let's go get 20 and 30 and 50 and just keep doing it. We love you. We're so grateful for you. You're making a difference in the world. You truly are. And we're so grateful for every one of you to be part of the foundation. Thanks for watching. We're going to be right back, and we're going to talk about how you can make more money and get that money into your investment account. Thanks for watching.